Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with SBR contributor Jordan Sharp, and today we're talking about those odds and how they've been acting up for that divisional game playoffs between the Carolina Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks. What's going on, Jordan? How you doing, man?
Not much, Dax. Thanks for having me back, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, my man. All right, odds makers opened this one up at minus 11.5 in favor of Seattle. Since then, they dropped it to minus 11, and in some cases, even all the way down to minus 10.5. All right, Carolina made it here, I think, just because out of luck, man, because my Saints should be here. Anyways, they beat the Arizona Cardinals last week, 16-27, and Seattle rested up, and right now they should be all cylinders go with Marshawn Lynch going to run over everybody. I think that Carolina's going to have that weak defensive line not being able to stop him, and we've seen what he's been able to do so far. He's on a hot roll. I think that this is the way that we should go with maybe taking those 10.5. What do you think, man?
I mean, I agree with you. The Panthers and the Seahawks have played one another now 3 years in a row, all at Carolina. Yes, I'll grant you they've all three been at Carolina. They've played it 3 years in a row so far. Even though Carolina hasn't won a game, they've always been within 4 or 5 points of the Seahawks. It's always been a very, very low-scoring game. And looking at a total of 39 points and then looking at the fact that you can get 10.5 on the Panthers right now, I just feel like you have to go there. It looks like, according to the SBR consensus page, that's where most people are going as well. You know, I just really think that they have a shot to cover here. Do they have a chance to win? I really don't think so. Yeah. But to cover, I mean, you're getting 11 points here at Bovada right now. Most other books have it at 10.5. You know, if this game is, again, a very low-scoring defensive battle between these two, like we've seen a number of times throughout the years over the last 3 years, you know, Carolina's a good bet plus 10.5. I think a teaser may be a really good value, going with Panthers on a 6-point teaser at plus 16.5 and then getting the under around 45.5 to 46. That's one of my favorite plays of the entire weekend regardless. So maybe if you don't feel so good about 10.5, but you can do that teaser. But definitely it's going to be a low-scoring game here, and that always favors the underdog, especially when that underdog is double digits, Dax.
I definitely agree, man. I mean, the only concern that I would have for us to be able to cover that one, I mean, 16.5 points, that's definitely decent, but Cam's got to come in and he's got to be healthy, man. He's got to be able to get that ball down the field and at least be able to move it a little bit more. But from what we've seen, it looks like he isn't at 100%. So, I mean, that's the only concern that I would have right now about him. As for the other side, like I was saying, I mean, Marshawn is ready to go, man. He's going to go loose and go wild on them. I'm thinking that, you know, we might be able to find some value on a prop bet too, you know, see if Marshawn can break that 200-yard mark, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think his over/under for yards is right around 100 right now. That'd be a pretty good bet, I think. But, you know, then again, like you said, you know, these games have been more defensive. So, you know, there isn't – I just can't see Seattle winning this game, you know, 30-10. You know, that would really, really surprise me. I think it's possible. I do think it's within the realm of possibility, but sure. Yeah. But I do think that it would be, I think, a stretch considering how these teams have played one another, considering that this is a playoff game. Carolina now, I think the battle between, you know, their passing game versus the Seattle secondary is probably going to be the X factor here, because I just really can't see either team getting a whole lot of success on the ground. I think Jonathan Stewart had some success on the ground earlier in the year against Seattle. That'll be interesting, and I think you're right. I think Marshawn will have some success as well. I'm not looking for a banner day from him, though, just because with this low total, you really can't be getting too prop heavy on the over here, which is probably where you're leaning with this one. That's just probably my only 39.5 total. I mean, you know, what do you expect the final score of this game to be, Dax, really?
Honestly, I don't know, man. I mean, I was probably looking towards a low one, too. I mean, I don't think that we're going to see that go over 39, not even close. But another fact that I was going to point out is the fact that, you know, this might be a good game for Greg Olsen, too. You know, he's been one of the good tight ends that right now Cam Newton has, and he can rely on him. He's a veteran, you know. He's got good hands. So I'm thinking that with that Seattle secondary that's a little loose on that side, they might be going to him a lot, too. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to definitely be a good game. And I like that tease, man. I mean, it definitely sounds like the right way to go considering the whole deal here. The only other concern that I also have is it's going to be in C-Link, man. And the 12th man, that's going to definitely hinder their possibilities of being able to call the plays right. And even though, you know, Cam does have that deep voice and all, which I don't know why I brought up, but still, he will be, you know, a little bit held back with that fact. I mean, what do you think about that, man?
Yeah, this is the biggest, I think, factor, is the fact that these, for some reason, they've played each other 3 years in a row, but they've always been in Carolina, which is weird. But either way, I do think that Carolina can show up on the road here. It wouldn't surprise me if if it is a little bit, let's say that the Seattle, they ended up winning, by 10, 12 points. That obviously would not surprise me one bit. I think they could easily come in and win this game by 10, 12, 14 points, whatever. But I think the likelihood of that happening is definitely smaller than the likelihood of the Panthers, showing up here despite being on the road. I think the Panthers have been undervalued. Their problem is they've just been inconsistent, I think. I think they have the team around Cam to at least, the defense to play solid enough to keep this game low scoring enough. If Jonathan Stewart can have some success again on the ground, this offense is going to be able to move the ball. I think Kelvin Benjamin should also potentially have some success. I think he had almost 100 yards receiving in that game earlier this year. So if he can, if they can get Seattle, at least stay with them, and not, let Seattle score 2, 3, maybe 4 unanswered times, then I think they have a good chance of covering here. It's going to take them getting on the board early, though. I think that's probably a big proposition on the road here in Central Link Field in the playoffs. But then again, it is the playoffs. The Panthers are going to show up too, I think, regardless. And I think 10.5, I think, is still just probably that better wager, or that teaser, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and side with you on that teaser, man. I like it a lot, man. And, getting those 16.5 points definitely sounds like a right way to go. And 43 and hook, I think, on the over, right?
So all the way up to 45.5. So.
Ah, fucking A, man. I mean, that's the way to go, man. All right, Jordan, pleasure talking with you, brother, and look forward to doing this again soon.
All right, thanks, Dax.
No problem, man. And for SBR Picks, this is Dax Floyd.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.